What if I told you that Formula One's most dominant driver is starting to turn against his own team? Max Verstappen, the man who led Red Bull into a new golden age, is now deeply dissatisfied, and not just with race results, but with the very direction the team is heading in. For the first time, Max isn't just frustrated, he's being ignored. Recent decisions around the second seat, the car's development, and leadership dynamics are creating serious tension, the kind that could fracture a once unshakable alliance. Are we witnessing the beginning of the end of Verstappen's era at Red Bull? In this video, we're diving deep into everything happening behind the scenes, with facts, context, and honest opinion. Because when the most dominant driver of a generation starts raising his voice, something big is on the horizon. It may sound dramatic to suggest that Verstappen is in crisis. After all, he's still the benchmark on the grid. But those paying close attention know this isn't the same Max we saw in 2021 or 2022. Behind the scenes, he's been expressing real frustration, not about lap times, but about being ignored by the team. And these aren't emotional outbursts. Max is identifying strategic mistakes, short-sighted thinking, and rushed decisions. Worse still, he's being shut out of the conversations that matter. The man carrying the team is no longer the one shaping its future. And nowhere was that clearer than in the handling of Liam Lawson. Liam Lawson's time at Red Bull was over almost before it began. 2 races, 1 sprint weekend, tracks he'd never raced on, and just like that, cast aside. Verstappen was furious, and rightly so. He felt Lawson was judged unfairly, with no real chance to show what he could do. Suzuka, where Lawson has strong experience from Super Formula, would have been a perfect proving ground, but he never got the chance. And what does it say about Red Bull's process when a talented driver is written off so quickly? According to Max, it's a symptom of something much deeper. Verstappen isn't just upset about Lawson, he's frustrated by what the situation represents. Instead of fixing the car, Red Bull are busy shuffling drivers. Max has made it clear. The RB21 needs development, and not just for him, but to make life easier for whoever's in the second seat. He knows the gap between the Red Bull and Racing Bull's cars is becoming an inside joke in the paddock, yet the team continues to treat it as a driver issue rather than a technical one. And what's most frustrating, even Verstappen's input is being sidelined. Believe it or not, even Max Verstappen doesn't have the final word when it comes to the RB21's development. Red Bull's engineers are relying heavily on wind tunnel data and simulations, not on driver feel, and that's driving Max up the wall. He understands that cars must evolve, but he also knows they can't be so extreme that only he can drive them. If the team ever want to support a second driver properly, they have to start listening and adapting. Otherwise, the car becomes a one-man machine, and that's exactly what's happening now. Verstappen's driving style is unlike anyone else's. He wants a super sharp front end, aggressive turn-in, a loose rear, and he thrives on the edge of grip where others spin. It works for him, but for every other driver, it's a nightmare. Max has said himself, put Lawson in the Racing Bull's car, and he'd go faster. That's how hard the RB21 is to drive. Even seasoned drivers would struggle. And while Max can live with that, he also believes Red Bull need to change the way they support young talent. Which brings us to the Mercedes comparison. While Red Bull toss their young drivers into brutal situations, Mercedes play the long game. Take Kimi Antonelli. Extensive testing, proper development, experience before pressure. Why didn't Red Bull do the same with Lawson? F1 analyst Bernie Collins asked that exact question. Why wasn't Lawson given 50 to 60 days in an older spec car to prepare? There's no cost cap for that, no excuses. Instead, he was thrown into a beast of a car designed for Verstappen. And now people are beginning to wonder whether Christian Horner is really the leader Red Bull need right now. Horner has been the steady hand at Red Bull for years, but that steadiness is starting to crack. With Helmut Marko pushing from one side, Jos Verstappen watching closely, and Max clearly frustrated, the leadership dynamics are shifting fast. Other teams, like Ferrari and McLaren, have 2 competitive drivers pushing each other forward. Red Bull, one driver on another level, and a second seat that's become a graveyard for talent. If Horner can't fix that imbalance, he may lose more than just the constructor's edge. It might sound unthinkable, but Max leaving Red Bull isn't out of the question. He's been linked to Mercedes, Aston Martin, and if he feels ignored and undervalued, that door only opens wider. Verstappen isn't just a racer, he's a competitor, a leader, and someone who wants to be part of building something lasting. If Red Bull keep dismissing his input, the writing may already be on the wall. And if that happens, the entire foundation of Red Bull racing could start to shake. Red Bull are in a golden era, but even golden eras have an expiry date. The warning signs are here. Verstappen frustrated, technical issues piling up, young drivers burnt before they begin. If this team can't adjust, can't listen, and can't build a car that more than one driver can handle, they risk losing the very asset that made them champions. Max Verstappen isn't just asking for changes, he's warning them, loud and clear. Max Verstappen isn't just another driver speaking out in frustration. He's a four-time world champion, the cornerstone of Red Bull's success, and arguably the most complete talent on the current grid. When he raises a red flag, you don't brush it aside. You listen. But right now, Red Bull isn't listening. They're making rushed decisions with young drivers. They're building a car so specialized that no one else can drive it properly. And worst of all, they're ignoring the one person who's been carrying the team on his back for years. The situation with Liam Lawson wasn't just unfair. It was a symptom of a deeper cultural problem. A problem of impatience, short-term thinking, and a total lack of strategic planning for the second seat. You can't build dynasties like that. Verstappen has made it clear he's willing to sacrifice a bit of his own edge to make the team stronger overall. That's leadership, that's maturity, and that's the kind of mindset Red Bull must support if they want to stay competitive, not just in 2025, but for the next decade. Because here's the reality: dominance fades, champions move on, and the teams that survive are the ones that evolve before they're forced to. Right now, Max is giving Red Bull a chance to evolve. He's offering insight, long-term vision, and loyalty. But those things don't last forever. If the team keeps brushing him off, that patience will run out, and the damage could be irreversible. So here's the big question. Will Red Bull adjust and secure their future with Max at the center of it? Or are we about to witness the collapse of one of F1's most successful partnerships? Let me know what you think in the comments. Is Verstappen right to feel this way? Did Red Bull move too fast with Lawson? And is Christian Horner still the right person to lead the team through this phase? This situation is only getting more intense. And trust me, we'll be covering every twist and turn right here. If you've made it this far, you're clearly someone who loves F1 beyond just the highlights. So do us a favor, hit the like button, subscribe to Paddock Insider, and turn on all notifications so you never miss an upload. Here we go beyond the podium. We go inside the paddock. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.